Today's episode of Tekzilla is brought to you by Netflix.
Hey, it's time to get our HD Nation on. John writes in, I'm an audioholic and I have a 5.1 surround sound system with B&W speakers. That's Bowers & Wilkins, if you don't know. And I would like to know if I should select the 7.1 or 6.1 option in games and movies over the 5.1 option. Is the 7 or 6.1 option any better? Thanks in advance, signed John. Well, my rule of thumb would be to select the audio source output option that best matches your current setup.
Right.
If you're running 5.1 speakers, then a multi-channel Blu-ray movie, the playback on that should be pretty automatic. If the disc is featuring a 5.1 track, it'll automatically play that.
Right.
If 6.1 or 7.1 tracks are available, you usually have to select that as an option in the audio setup, either in-game or in the movie.
What is 6.1? So 5.1, in case you don't know, center speaker, 2 front speakers, 2 rear speakers. The .1 is a subwoofer. 7.1 adds 2 more rear channels.
Yeah, and they're up higher.
They're up higher.
Height channels.
What is 6.1?
Yeah, that kind of threw me there for a second. Is it the one that has the audio channel straight above you for down, for more of a height? Either way.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter. The key really is making sure the AV receiver is properly configured to drive your current speaker layout. Regardless if you have just 2 channels, stereo, 2.1 with a subwoofer, 5.1, whatever, if the AVR has that setup mic and you can use it for verification, it should confirm that it's aware of how many speakers you actually have and everything is ready to go. The AV receiver should then be able to automatically detect that audio stream and decode it properly for your particular setup. So even if you did select 6.1, 7.1 audio track from your source material, the AVR should be smart enough, and it is smart enough, to actually bring it back down to the 5.1 channels that John has, or whatever channels the AVR is actually configured for. Now, some of our favorite high-quality audio formats like DTS HD Master Audio and Dolby True HD are designed to downmix to as many channels, from many channels to fewer channels if needed. And if you're rolling with 5.1 speaker setup, and you should always select the 5.1 audio track whenever possible. Likewise, if you're using a stereo speaker setup or 2.1, select a stereo track whenever available for good audio quality. And that's pretty much the bottom line on that one.
Yeah.
So. Do you know what 6.1 is?
By the way, it's a center channel in the rear, which basically, to put this into context, I think there's like 1 out of every 10 movies supports 7.1 right now.
Cool.
I think the number of 6.1 soundtracks would probably be a fraction of that.
Probably.
5.1
is ubiquitous. It's everywhere.
And it's more than enough for most people out there.
But you do have 6.1. I've seen 7.1 in games too. So
yeah,
take advantage of it if you have the speaker set up. Roll with it.
But I don't know. It's just like, for me, like I don't.
What is it?
I want to see more 7.1. Like before I upgrade my speaker system, I want to see more 7.1 content.
I wouldn't be so concerned about that. Getting to 5.1 and making sure it sounds right and set up right and being able to enjoy it regularly. That's the key. The number of channels, kind of secondary to me. Unless we're talking subwoofers, then I want as many as I can afford. So.
It's true. Hey, something we saw at CES, we didn't talk about, across from our booth was JL Audio. They're a subwoofer manufacturer. They make component speakers, some really nice speakers for mobile applications. This was pretty interesting. Technically not new at CES. This is the JL Audio, basically their Fathom subwoofer, but they have an in-wall subwoofer design. And let me click back on this. You can basically see over here, it's a long, JL Audio makes something called a stealth box, right? Which is a box that's designed to fit inside a very specific automobile design, right? Right. This is essentially a stealth box for the wall in your house. So if we go back and take a look at what they call the IWS-SYS-1, which is the in-wall system, the end result is that you have this on your wall for your subwoofer.
That's pretty.
Right? So what they do
pretty well hidden.
Is they've created a box that hangs off of the studs. It's a really interesting suspension system, and you can see pads basically that isolate it from the wall so it doesn't buzz against the wall. It hangs off of the studs at the top, and this beautifully built sound cabinet, which is actually literally 6-7 feet high.
That's slick.
And that whole thing hangs. They do 12-inch and 24-inch version system. So this is a huge, basically a stealth box that goes inside
I hate to hide that in the wall,
but
damn, that's nice.
yeah. I mean, it is not inexpensive. If you take a look at this, you're looking at like $4,500. Which is incredibly expensive if you're not burying it inside of a new house build or something like that.
At least 2 of them, too.
Yeah, it's essentially what they did is they took their Fathom design, which is a pretty high-end $2,000, $2,500 subwoofer design that's gotten a lot of nods from the high-end home theater community, and essentially turn that into a thin vertical cabinet.
See, there's the more traditional design, the big cube.
Yeah.
And being able to put a sub like that in the wall space, and if it sounds
it's pretty
great,
slick. If you want to hide the subwoofer, which,
exactly.
you know, if it was about $4,000 less, I might be able to do it. But JL Audio also created some more affordable home theater enthusiast subwoofers that are well under $2,000 list and should street closer to like $1,200 or $1,300. The eSub powered home subwoofers, along with a whole bunch of car audio products that we're not going to go into in HD Nation.
And marine audio.
But I thought
my favorite.
I just thought the idea of building the subwoofer into the wall was so slick.
It's a slick design.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hey,
Just
everybody.
so you know.
Awesome. It's time for now. The new Blu-ray releases for the week of January 24th, 2012. This week, the Criterion release of the original 1954 version of Godzilla. This Japanese film is the birth of the cultural phenomenon known that has since featured in dozens of films and made appearances in hundreds of pop culture references, and now finally, Criterion has completely restored the original film for your enjoyment. This Region 8 locked release comes in an MPEG-4 AVC codec, the original 137:1 aspect ratio, and an uncompressed LPCM mono track in both Japanese and English. Blu-ray.com was incredibly impressed with the transfer, saying it's, quote, enormously satisfying, unquote, and speculates that, quote, it will be considered the definitive presentation of the film for years to come, unquote. That sounds great. And because it's a Criterion release, there is no shortage of bonus features. You'll get a commentary with critic and author David Collette, 4 interviews with the cast and crew totaling 105 minutes, a 10-minute featurette focusing on the special effects, a 15-minute interview with Japanese cinema expert discussing the cultural significances of the film, and a 10-minute illustrated audio essay on the real-life events that inspired Godzilla. Also included is the feature-length American remake that came out in 1956 called Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And as always, check out our show notes at Tekzilla.com or HDNation.tv for the links to the rest of this week's Blu-ray releases. And hey, now it's time to thank one of our sponsors, Netflix. Netflix streams TV shows and movies directly to your home, saving you time, money, and hassle. As a Netflix Unlimited member, you can instantly watch TV episodes and movies streaming directly to your PC, Mac, or right to your TV with your Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, or Nintendo Wii console. Watch as many movies as you want, anytime you want, and cancel anytime. For a limited time, get a free 30-day trial membership. Go to netflix.com/Tekzilla and sign up now. And please be sure to use that URL so that they know we sent you.